Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today's topic of SDD is introduction to hemopoiesis and how normal, what are the normal blood values and what is iron deficiency anemia. So let's start. What is hemopoiesis? Hemopoiesis is the process of formation of solid elements of blood. So what are solid elements of blood? The solid elements are red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets. These are the solid elements of blood. So hemopoiesis is the process of formation of all these three components of blood. So as the name indicates, heme is blood, hemopoiesis production of blood. Hemopoiesis is production of blood. So hemopoiesis is the process of formation of solid elements of blood. It starts with the pluripotent stem cell in the bone marrow. As we all know that all the cells, all the blood cells originate from pluripotent stem cells. Stem cells are the cells that are present in bone marrow and they give rise to all the solid elements of blood that are red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. So, what are sites of hemopoiesis? Initially, in early life, the hemopoiesis occurs in yolk sac. Then, liver adds up hemopoiesis to the body. Then, spleen plays its part, and then bone marrow is when bone marrow is functional intrauterine. It starts forming all the blood cells, and eventually when placenta is fully formed, it takes up the fetal hemopoiesis along with all these above mentioned sites. So in adults, after birth of the baby, what happens? Which are the sites of hemopoiesis? In adults, hemopoiesis is confined to ribs, sternum, vertebrae, sacrum, and pelvis, and proximal ends of femur. Beta, remember when the child is born, the sites of hemopoiesis are liver, spleen, bone marrow, placenta. When the baby is born, the placental part is lost. So the bone marrow in all the bones of the body, they produce, they are responsible for hemopoiesis. So as the child grows, the function of hemopoiesis is only confined to the long bones or the specified bones of the body. So what are those bones in adults? They are confined to ribs, sternum, vertebrae, sacrum, pelvis, and proximal ends of femur. How would you remember? Remember, beta, hemopoiesis is confined to ribs. This is the all axial skeleton. This is axial skeleton where the hemopoiesis is now confined. So these are ribs, sternum, at the back there are vertebrae, downwards sacrum, pelvis, and then proximal ends of humerus and femur. So these are all sites of hemopoiesis in adults. So how a hemopoiesis occurs? So in adults, the multipotent hemopoietic stem cells are responsible for the production of all the cell lines, all the blood cell lines. So remember this word, multipotent hemopoietic stem cell. The stem cell gives rise to all the blood cells. The stem cell, if the stem cell differentiates into common myeloid progenitor, it will give rise to all the cells except lymphocytes, because lymphocytes originates from common lymphoid progenitor. So if the multipotent stem cell gives rise to common lymphoid progenitor, it will form lymphocytes. So natural killer cells are found from common lymphoid progenitor, and B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes are found from common lymphoid progenitor. As the name indicates, common lymphoid progenitor, lymphoid, it will give rise to lymphocytes. So B lymphocytes give rise to plasma cells and the T lymphocytes are formed. So now coming back to common myeloid progenitor. If common myeloid progenitor is formed from a hemopoietic stem cell, then it will give rise to platelets, RBCs, and all the WBCs except the lymphocytes, because lymphocytes are produced from common lymphoid progenitor. So common myeloid progenitor gives rise to megakaryocyte. Megakaryocyte gives rise to thrombocytes. What are thrombocytes? Thrombocytes are platelets. So platelets arise from megakaryocytes. As the name indicates, megakaryocytes, these are big cells inside the bone marrow. So common myeloid progenitor also gives rise to erythrocytes. Erythrocytes are red blood cells. So another name of red blood cells is erythrocyte. Common myeloid progenitor gives rise to mast cells. Common myeloid progenitor gives rise to myeloblast. Beta, remember, myeloblast further gives rise to all the white blood cells or the WBCs except lymphocytes, because lymphocytes are produced from common lymphoid progenitor. So myeloblasts give rise to basophils, neutrophils, eosinophils, and monocytes. So these cells, basophils, neutrophils, and eosinophils, these three are granulated white blood cells. Granulated, as the name indicates, they have granules inside their cytoplasm. This is basophil. Neutrophil has also granules inside its cytoplasm, and eosinophil. These three cells, along with monocytes, are produced from myeloblast. So, looking behind, multipotential hematopoietic stem cells gives rise to common myeloid progenitor. Common myeloid progenitor gives rise to myeloblast, and myeloblast gives rise to all the white blood cells, excluding lymphocytes. And common myeloid progenitor also gives rise to red blood cells and platelets. So, what is the difference between monocyte and macrophage? I hope you all know that monocyte are the cells that are produced from the marrow, and they are transferred to the blood. So as long as the cells are inside the blood, they are called monocytes. When they leave the blood and enters the tissues, it takes the name macrophage. So in tissues it's called macrophage, in blood it's called monocyte. So what is erythropoiesis? Erythro, as the name indicates, erythro means red blood cells, poiesis means formation. So the process by which mature red blood cells are produced is called erythropoiesis. It is regulated by erythropoietin. What is erythropoietin? Erythropoietin regulates the production of red blood cells. From where erythropoietin is produced? Erythropoietin, as you all know, 90% of the erythropoietin is produced from kidneys, and 10% of erythropoietin is produced from liver. So kidney is the major source of erythropoietin, which helps in the production of red blood cells. So if a patient has any renal renal disease, what would happen? The patient, there will be low production of erythropoietin from the kidneys. As the kidneys are not functioning, erythropoietin will not be produced, and when the erythropoietin is not produced, red blood cell production will also be affected. So how does this all system works? Whenever there is hypoxia, there is hypoxia to the renal tubules, there is release of hypoxia inducible factor, which is also called HIF, hypoxia inducible factor, from the kidney, which is also alpha and beta subunits. So hypoxia inducible factor is released, which leads to the production of erythropoietin from the kidney, and there will be increased number of progenitor cells committed to erythropoiesis. So this erythropoietin will act on stem cells and force it to take the lineage which produces red blood cells. So hypoxia to the renal tubules will lead to the production of hypoxia inducible factor, which is HIF. HIF will lead to the production of erythropoietin, and erythropoietin, when secreted into the blood, goes to the marrow, and it leads to it causes the progenitor cells to be committed for the production of erythrocytes. So erythropoiesis is increased. So erythropoiesis is summed up in this picture, in which this portion is what the process is going on in bone marrow, and this process is going on in blood. So what processes are going on in marrow? Hemopoietic stem cell leads to the production of, when it takes the lineage of for the production of erythrocytes, it forms pro-erythroblast. The first cell to produce is pro-erythroblast. Pro-erythroblast matures a bit to form erythroblast. So then the erythroblast, when loses its nucleus, as you all know, RBCs are anucleated cells. They do not have nucleus in them. So the nucleus has to be eliminated. Erythroblast, when loses its nucleus and some organelles, it produces reticulocyte. Reticulocyte is still immature cell. It is not mature erythrocyte. So reticulocyte spends 3 to 4 days inside the marrow and then 1 day in the blood. It releases from, after 3 to 4 days of its production, it is released into the blood, where it matures by taking another 1 day. So reticulocytes moves into the blood for 1 day and then they become mature erythrocytes. So looking back again, pluripotent hematopoietic stem cell gives rise to proerythroblast, which is also called pronormoblast. It forms erythroblast, which is also called normoblast, erythroblast, normoblast. Erythroblast loses its nucleus to form reticulocyte. Reticulocyte spends 3 to 4 days in bone marrow, and when they leave bone marrow, they spend 1 more day inside the blood, and then they lose the remaining organelles and become erythrocytes. But as you can see, the reticulocyte is a polychromatic cell. Polychromasia. What is polychromasia? Polychromatic cells are those cells which give double shade. So as you can see, it is giving the shade of red and blue. So red and blue shade is given by reticulocytes, and erythrocytes are red colored cells. Erythrocytes spend, the lifespan of erythrocytes is around 120 days. Total 1% of circulating red blood cells are reticulocytes and the rest are mature erythrocytes. Now beta, coming towards leukopoiesis. What is leukopoiesis? Leuko means WBCs. Leuko, WBCs, and poiesis means production. So the production of WBCs is called leukopoiesis. We have already seen that the production of lymphocyte is from common lymphoid progenitor. Rest of all the WBCs are produced from common myeloid progenitor. So leukopoiesis is the process of formation of leukocytes or WBCs in the bone marrow. Leukocytes are WBCs. Process of formation of leukocytes in the bone marrow. So there are two processes, myelopoiesis and lymphopoiesis. Lymphopoiesis is the production of lymphocytes by common lymphoid progenitor cells. And myelopoiesis is the production of granulocytes and monocytes. What are granulocytes? Granulocytes we have discussed are neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils. They are called granulocytes. So the process of formation of granulocytes and monocytes is called myelopoiesis, and the process of production of lymphocytes is called lymphopoiesis. As the name indicates, lymphopoiesis. So what is myelopoiesis? So when the myeloblast, we'll see the previous picture again. So beta, this stem cell leads to the formation of common myeloid progenitor, and this progenitor, when committed to form myeloblast, so from this onwards we will look that flow chart. So this myeloblast, if this myeloblast is committed to produce promyelocyte, if this myeloblast is committed to produce neutrophils, then it will take up this route. And if this myeloblast is committed to produce macrophages, it will take up this route. So if myeloblast is committed to produce neutrophil, what will happen? The production of promyelocyte, it will lead to production of myelocyte, then metamyelocyte, then band neutrophil, and then mature neutrophil. Beta, it's easy to remember. Pro means pehle, pehle yaad rakhein. Promyelocyte, then myelocyte, pro hata de, myelocyte, then metamyelocyte. Meta has a dent inside it. This is a dent. So that when the nucleus is dented, it's called metamyelocyte. Myelocyte produces metamyelocyte, this dented nucleus cell, and it will lead to band neutrophil. This band cell is eventually will eventually produce neutrophil, as this band cell only has to form the lobes of the nucleus. Rest it is fully functional neutrophil. So the band cell, when it has the this formation of lobed nucleus, it's called neutrophil. The mature neutrophil leaves the bone marrow. This is marrow. This is orange, is yellow color is all marrow. When the neutrophil is formed inside the marrow, mature neutrophil leave the marrow and transfer into the blood. This is blood. This vessel is blood. So the neutrophil is transferred into the blood, and whenever there is a need or there is inflammation, infection, then this neutrophil leaves the blood and migrates to the tissue. This blue color indicates tissue. Then this will transfer into the tissue. So again, myeloblast will lead to formation of promyelocyte, myelocyte, metamyelocyte, band neutrophil, and then eventually mature neutrophil. This mature neutrophil leaves bone marrow into the blood, and when and wherever needed, it will leave and goes to the tissue. So if the myeloblast is committed to produce monocyte or macrophage, what will happen? This myeloblast produces pro-monocyte. As the name indicates, monocyte is going to be produced. So from this, it's pro-monocyte. Pro-monocyte is produced. Pro-monocyte gives rise to monocyte. Monocyte migrates into the blood, and as long as it's inside the blood, the monocyte is inside the blood, its name will be monocyte. Its name will be monocyte. Inside blood, its name is monocyte, and when it leaves the blood and goes into the tissue, it matures and it forms macrophage. It takes up the name macrophage. So inside tissue, its name is macrophage. Inside the blood, its name is monocyte. So we have already discussed lymphopoiesis. This is myelopoiesis, and we have already discussed lymphopoiesis, in which B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes and natural killer cells are produced. B lymphocytes further gives rise to plasma cells. So megakaryopoiesis, beta, megakaryopoiesis. Poiesis is formation of platelets is called megakaryocytes. I already shown you the picture of megakaryocytes. It's a big cell. It's a megakaryocyte is a big cell. So megakaryopoiesis is the process of formation of platelets, or they are also called thrombocytes. Platelets are also called thrombocytes. The process of formation of platelets and thrombocytes is called megakaryopoiesis. So it is regulated by thrombopoietin. What is thrombopoietin? From where does thrombopoietin produce? Thrombopoietin is produced from 90% of thrombopoietin is produced from liver, and 10% is produced from kidney. So the stimulant, thrombopoiesis is a stimulant that regulate the production of platelets. 90% is produced from liver. Beta, remember, erythropoietin, 90% of erythropoietin is produced from kidney, and 90% of thrombopoietin is produced from liver. Remember, erythropoietin is produced 90% from kidney, thrombopoietin from liver. So thrombopoietin is produced mainly from liver. So what are platelets? Platelets are actually, they are the fragments of cytoplasm of megakaryocytes. Beta, remember, platelets are the fragments. These, when the megakaryocyte gets fragmented, these fragments are called platelets. Platelets are the fragmentation of the cytoplasm of megakaryocyte. So again, from the multipotent stem cell, it gives rise to committed megakaryocyte progenitor cell that is committed to form platelets. Committed megakaryocyte progenitor cell, it gives rise to immature megakaryocyte, which leads to formation of mature megakaryocyte. And these are all the factors which influence the maturation of the successive stages of the cells. So when the mature megakaryocyte is formed, it starts fragmentation. It starts to fragment, and these fragments are called platelets when they are released into the blood. So platelets are produced from the fragmentation of cytoplasm of megakaryocytes. They arise from megakaryoblast. So from where does megakaryocyte produce? They produce from megakaryoblast. Because megakaryoblast gives rise to megakaryocytes, and the fragmentation of megakaryocytes leads to the production of platelets. As you can see, the platelets are the fragmented cytoplasmic pieces of the megakaryocyte. So what is the lifespan of platelets? The lifespan of platelets is 10 days. After 10 days, a new platelet progeny takes place. It takes the place of these old platelets. Beta, this is very important. You should know the normal hematological values as given below. The more important which you need to memorize is the value of hemoglobin, the red cell count, now this WBC count and platelet count. At least you should know these four values. You should memorize this hemoglobin, red cell count, WBC count, and platelet count. So hemoglobin is measured in gram per deciliters. In males, the normal hemoglobin value is 13.6 to 17.2. You can round it off as 13.5 to 17 gram per deciliter in males, and in females it's 12 to 15 gram per deciliter. In females, the hemoglobin is 12 to 15 gram per deciliter. What is the hematocrit? Hematocrit in males is 39 to 49%. In females, it's 33 to 43%. Red cell count is taken in 10 to raise per 9 per microliter. So in males, it's 4.3 to 5.9 into 10 to raise per 9 per microliters of RBCs. And in females, it's 3.5 to 5. Reticulocyte count. Beta, normal reticulocyte count of adult is 0.5 to 1.5, or some books say it's 0.5 to 2%. It's easy to memorize. 0.5 to 2% is the normal range of reticulocytes in blood. Mean cell volume. Mean cell volume is MCV. As you all know that MCV is measured in femtoliters. Its normal range is 82 to 96 femtoliters. Mean corpuscular hemoglobin, it's MCH. MCH is measured in picograms. It's 27 to 33 picograms. Mean cell hemoglobin concentration is 33 to 37 gram per deciliters in normal individuals. WBC count normal is 4 to 11 into 10 to raise per 9 per liter, and platelet count is 150 to 450. This is very easy to memorize. In dengue season, everybody memorize this platelet count. That is 150 to 450 into 10 to raise per 9 per liters. WBC count is also easy. Normally it's 4 to 11. The range is between 4 to 11 into 10 to raise per 9 per liters. Beta, this MCV, mean corpuscular volume, this MCH and MCHC, these three are very important red blood cell parameters that are to be used for the identification of different disorders of red blood cells, and we will discuss in detail in further lectures. So mean corpuscular volume, memorize it. Mean corpuscular volume is 82 to 96 femtoliters. Mean cell hemoglobin is 27 to 33 picograms. MCHC is 33 to 37 gram per deciliter. So we will be discussing it in detail, these parameters of red blood cells, in further lectures. So what is anemia? Anemia is defined as a reduction in the hemoglobin concentration of the blood below normal for age and gender. So anemia is defined as reduction in hemoglobin concentration of the blood below normal for age and gender. So WHO defines anemia in adults as a hemoglobin less than 130 gram per deciliter per liter in males and less than 120 gram per liter in females. Beta, WHO defines in gram per liter, but the unit standard unit now for the hemoglobin assessment is gram per deciliter. As we have already discussed, it's gram per deciliter. So it's 13.6. WHO says it's gram per liter. So when it becomes gram per deciliter, the value will become 13.0. 13.0 for males, and if it is less than 12.0 gram per liter in females, the patient will be labeled as anemic. So according to WHO definition, if the patient has 13.0 gram per liter, a male patient has less than 13.0 gram per liter HB, he is anemic. And if a female having less than 12.0 gram per deciliter hemoglobin, she is anemic. So less than 12 for females and less than 13 for males. Classification of anemia according to underlying mechanism. Anemia can be classified in various ways. So there are different classifications. So this classification is based on according to the underlying mechanism. Beta, remember, when does anemia occur? Anemia occur if blood is not being produced from the marrow, or the blood is destroyed, blood cells are being destroyed inside the blood, or there is blood loss. All three possibilities can be there. Blood is not producing enough, there is hemolysis inside the blood, or blood is being wasted, so the anemia will occur. So if there is blood loss, acute or chronic blood loss, the patient will get anemia. If there is increased red cell destruction, that is called hemolysis. If there is hemolysis, the patient will also be anemic. So there are some intrinsic abnormalities of RBCs which leads to hemolysis. If there is mechanical trauma, such as in bungee jumping and in certain other games, running marathon, the patient gets mechanical, the RBCs get mechanical trauma, and this leads to hemolysis of RBCs. And in infections of red blood cells, there is also hemolysis. For example, what are the infections of red blood cells? For example, malaria. So when the red blood cells are infected, they are hemolyzed. If there is chemical injury to the red blood cells, for example, from any drug which you took, if there is any chemical injury to the red blood cells, they will also get hemolyzed and will lead to anemia. So if there is impaired red cell production, impaired red cell production is called diminished erythropoiesis. Erythro means red blood cells, poiesis means production. Diminished, that means less red blood cell production from the bone marrow. So there are certain nutritional deficiencies in which there is diminished erythropoiesis. The nutritional deficiencies, what are those? Iron deficiency anemia, in vitamin B12 deficiency anemia, that is megaloblastic anemia, or folic acid anemia, folic acid deficiency anemia, or folate deficiency anemia. These three are nutritional deficiencies. What are these? Iron deficiency anemia, deficiency of B12 vitamin B12 leads to anemia, and deficiency of folate leads to nutritional anemia. So these three are nutritional deficiencies that leads to impaired production of red blood cells and will lead to anemia. If there are inherited defects such as thalassemia, such as sideroblastic anemia, there will be, these are the inherited defects which leads to the diminished erythropoiesis. So if there is erythropoietin deficiency, from where does erythropoietin produced? Erythropoietin is produced from kidney. So if there is deficient erythropoietin production, there will be deficient RBC production inside the bone marrow. Infection of bone marrow progenitors. For example, if the stem cell gets infected by any virus or any bacteria, this will lead to the early destruction of the progenitor cells, such as the stem cells inside the bone marrow, and all the cell lines will be depressed. In bone marrow hypoplasia, there will also be impaired red cell production or diminished erythropoiesis. So classification of anemia on the basis of size of the cell. If it can be classified as microcytic hypochromic, normochromic, normocytic anemia, and macrocytic anemia. In microcytic hypochromic, as the name indicates, microcytic, the cells are small. Microcytic cells are small. Hypochromic, the color, chromia is color. So hemoglobin gives color to the red blood cells. So if the color is a light red hypochromic, the color is light and the size of the cell is small, then it's called microcytic hypochromic anemia. If the cells are of normal size and normal color, but even then patient has anemia, less hemoglobin, then it will be labeled as normocytic normochromic anemia. In macrocytic anemia, as the name indicates, macro, the size of the red blood cells is large. So in macrocytic anemia, the size of the red blood cells is very large. So there are um, uh, uh, different parameters on which we label cells as microcytic hypochromic. If the MCV, mean corpuscular volume, if the MCV is less than 80 femtoliters, we have already seen the normal value of MCV is uh, 75 to 90 femtoliters, or in some books it's 80 to 90, 95 femtoliters. So if the patient has less than 80 femtoliters of MCV, the cells will be microcytic hypochromic. And if the MCH is less than 27 picogram, the cells will be microcytic hypochromic. So what are the differential diagnoses which you get after looking the cell, after you diagnose the microcytic hypochromic anemia? The patient who has microcytic hypochromic anemia has differential diagnosis of iron deficiency anemia, thalassemia, anemia of chronic disease, lead poisoning, sideroblastic anemia. So these five should be on your fingertips. What are the differential diagnoses of microcytic hypochromic anemia? It's iron deficiency anemia, thalassemia, anemia of chronic disease, some cases, and lead poisoning and sideroblastic anemia. Normocytic, what are the causes of normocytic normochromic anemia? In normocytic normochromic anemia, the normal ranges of MCV and MCH will be found, and the causes of microcytic normochromic normocytic anemia are there are many hemolytic anemias in which the size and the color of the cells remains the same. That is the of normal range, normochromic normocytic anemia. In many hemolytic anemias, anemia of chronic disease, after acute blood loss in a road traffic accident or during surgery, the patient has acute blood loss and the patient will get normochromic normocytic anemia. In renal disease, in mixed deficiencies, what are mixed deficiencies? Mixed deficiencies are those in which the patient has iron deficiency as well as megaloblastic deficiency, megaloblastic anemia. So the megaloblastic anemia leads to the formation of big cells, macrocytes, and iron deficiency leads to small cells. So when the patient has both deficiencies, both the nutritional deficiencies, that is the deficiency of iron as well as vitamin B12, the patient will present as mixed deficiencies. And mixed deficiencies, the red blood cells are normochromic, normocytic. In bone marrow failure, for example, after post chemotherapy infiltration by carcinoma, there is bone marrow failure, and in bone marrow failure, the cells are produced, the number of cells are lessly produced, but the size of the cells are of normal range. So these are all the differentials of normochromic normocytic anemia. So what are the differentials of macrocytic anemia? If the MCV moves above the normal range, MCV moves above the normal range, that is MCV is large, the cells are large, cells are macrocytes. So MCV, if more than 95 femtoliters, is labeled as macrocytic anemia. The causes of macrocytic anemias are megaloblastic anemia, which is caused by vitamin B12 or folate deficiency. Megaloblastic anemia leads to macrocytes. But the non-megaloblastic causes, these are very important. Examiners ask you about these non-megaloblastic causes of macrocytic anemia. So these are alcohol consumption, liver disease, myelodysplasia, aplastic anemia. What is aplastic anemia? In aplastic anemia, all the cell lines, all the three cell lines, RBCs, WBCs, and platelets are all depressed. So in aplastic anemia, there is also macrocytes. So what are dietary anemias? We have already discussed. Dietary anemias are iron deficiency anemias, vitamin B12 deficiency anemia, and folate deficiency, which are also called megaloblastic anemias. So this is all for today. Um, thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.